Have you ever felt like you're just doing everything right? You're eating healthy, you're working out, but you're still totally exhausted, kind of wired, and you just can't seem to lose that stubborn weight? Well, today we're going to dive deep into that frustrating paradox and really unlock why that might be happening.
I mean, just think about it for a second. You are completely wiped out, but the moment your head hits the pillow, your brain just won't shut off. You feel revved up, maybe a little anxious, and that belly fat, it seems like it's just not going anywhere, no matter what you do. If that sounds even a little bit familiar, you are definitely in the right place.
So let's just get right to it. What if the very things you think are helping you, that early morning coffee on an empty stomach, that super intense workout, are actually the problem? It's a wild thought, but let's look at the one hormone that might be pulling all the strings behind the scenes.
To really get what's going on here, we have to talk about your body's built-in alarm system. And at the heart of that system is something you could almost call a cortisol code. And today, we're going to crack it.
So what even is cortisol? Well, in simple terms, it's your main stress hormone. It gets released by what's called the HPA axis. Just think of that as your body's emergency broadcast system. When it senses any kind of stress, whether that's a real threat like a tiger or a modern one like a crazy deadline or a bad night's sleep, it hits the big red button, flooding your system with cortisol.
Now here's the thing. Cortisol is not the bad guy here. Not at all. In a healthy body, it actually follows this beautiful 24-hour rhythm. It's supposed to be at its highest point in the morning. That's literally what gives you the oomph to get out of bed. Then it should gently decrease all day long, hitting rock bottom at night so you can relax and fall asleep. That's how it's supposed to work.
But what happens when we're stressed all the time? Well, that perfect rhythm gets totally wrecked. Instead of that gentle curve, you get what you see on the right. Cortisol just stays high all day and all night. This is what keeps you in that miserable, tired but wired state. And here's the real kicker. This constant alarm signal tells your body to go into survival mode and store fat, specifically that deep visceral belly fat around your organs.
Okay, so let's get into some of the nitty-gritty. Let's talk about some of these so-called healthy habits that might be sabotaging us without us even knowing it. And we're going to start with maybe the biggest one of all, that first cup of morning coffee.
You know the drill, right? The alarm goes off and the very first thought is coffee. You stumble out of bed, straight to the coffee pot, way before you've even thought about having a bite of food.
So what's the big deal? Well, remember how your cortisol is naturally at its peak in the morning to wake you up? When you dump a bunch of caffeine on top of that, it's like throwing gasoline on a fire. It triggers another huge surge of stress hormones, and that sends your blood sugar on a wild roller coaster that can last for the rest of the day. So what can you do instead? It's actually pretty simple. First, try eating something before that coffee. Something with protein and fat is ideal to keep your blood sugar stable. Second, just wait. Give your body like 30, maybe even 60 minutes to wake up on its own before you take that first sip. And here's a game-changing bonus tip. Get outside for 5 or 10 minutes of morning sunlight. That light hitting your eyes is one of the most powerful signals you can send your brain to set a healthy cortisol rhythm for the entire day.
All right, let's move on to another area where our best intentions can totally backfire. Exercise. Let's talk about what I like to call the HIIT trap.
We have all been told this, right? That high-intensity interval training, or HIIT, is the absolute best way to burn fat. The mantra is always go harder, push faster, no pain, no gain. But what if your body is already completely maxed out on stress? What do you think happens when you pile more intense stress on top of that?
This is where it gets really interesting. Just look at what happens to your cortisol levels with different kinds of exercise. All the way on the right, you can see that high-intensity workouts cause a massive spike in cortisol. Now, if your stress bucket is already full, this is just going to make it overflow. But then look all the way to the left. Something incredible happens with low-intensity movement, like a walk. It can actually lower your cortisol. How cool is that? So the big takeaway here is so important. You've got to match your movement to your stress levels. If you are feeling fried and exhausted, things like a nice daily walk, some gentle yoga, or even going for a swim are going to do way more for you. The goal should be to leave your workout feeling good and energized, not like you got hit by a truck. Okay, so we've torn down a couple of old habits. Now for the really good part. What do we build in their place? Let's talk about the 3 foundational pillars you need to get your hormones back in balance.
Pillar number 1 is all about getting off that blood sugar roller coaster for good, because every single time your blood sugar crashes, your body panics and shoots out cortisol to save the day. The way we stop this is by eating regular meals.
no more skipping breakfast, and a simple rule of thumb: always pair your carbs with some healthy protein or fat. So think apples with nut butter or adding some eggs or avocado to your toast.
Pillar number 2 is the one you absolutely cannot skip: sleep. Seriously, high cortisol and bad sleep create this horrible vicious cycle. It goes like this. You sleep poorly, so your cortisol is high the next day. But then that high cortisol makes it even harder to fall asleep the next night. The only way to break that cycle is to make sleep a priority. Aim for 7 to 9 hours in a room that is cool, and I mean pitch black dark.
And our third and final pillar is giving your body the right fuel to handle all this stress. See, when you're stressed, your body burns through certain nutrients like magnesium and vitamin C way faster than normal. And here's a fun fact for you. Your adrenal glands, the little guys that pump out all your stress hormones, have one of the highest concentrations of vitamin C in your entire body. So it's a great idea to load up on leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and colorful things like bell peppers and broccoli.
Okay, I know that was a ton of information. So let's bring it all home and put it into a super simple action plan. The whole point here isn't to give you a new list of things to stress about. It's the exact opposite. It's about learning how to send your body signals of safety all day long.
So here's what your new day could look like. Number 1, you start your morning right. Get a little sunlight, then have a real breakfast before your coffee. 2, you move your body gently. Maybe swap that HIIT class for a long walk in nature. 3, you eat balanced meals, making sure you get protein and fat every time. 4, you create a sleep sanctuary that's cool and dark. And number 5, just take 5 minutes a day to breathe. Seriously, something as simple as box breathing can completely change your nervous system's response to stress.
If you take just one thing away from all of this, please let it be this. The answer isn't to push your body harder. It's to finally start working with your body. It's about sending it consistent signals of safety, of nourishment, and of rest. Because when you do that, your body finally gets the message that it's safe enough to let go of that stubborn, protective layer of fat.
And I want to leave you with this last thought. If you've been struggling with this, if you've been beating yourself up, please hear this. You are not lazy. You are not failing. You are stressed. And the amazing news is, that is something you have the power to change, one small, gentle step at a time.